Welcome to another installment of Connecting the Gears. On the heels of a great interview with Camille Smith, we bring you another small to medium conversation with the gear from Ingram Micro that helps the machine churn. Thank you all for joining us for our second episode of 2022. I'm Sean McManus.
And I'm Jeff Wiza. Thanks for introducing us, Sean. Our next guest has been with Ingram working on 22 years, most recently overseeing all the fun events, outings, presence clubs in the marketing team. Basically everything our friends and families get jealous hearing from us about. And, it's a huge get for SMB. She's bringing that creative enthusiasm to our team. And, welcome, Michelle Zanelotti. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, I think we were just talking, and I know I'm just jumping right in, but I know you mentioned the fun stuff that our friends and family are jealous of. I've shipped more alcohol and beverages to people in the last 2 years of my entire 9 years in marketing, so we can thank COVID for that.
I will say though, it's nice though because the amount of stuff that comes, those jealous family members and friends
Yeah,
and neighbors, they do get to benefit some because I know in my neighborhood it was pretty clutch around Christmas just to take something off my doorstep and walk it next door. So
yeah, it did come in handy. I think parents have some nice SMB coffee mugs too that they carry around the house.
Absolutely. Those are in some stockings in the McManus family as well.
Yep.
Those are
So tell us about you.
Oh, my favorite part. So, 22 years. What did we determine earlier, Jeff? Over 7,000 something days I've been with Ingram Micro. Um, Started in customer service, then public sector sales, then marketing, and now back to sales. But me personally, married to my husband for 25 years. I consider success being us not killing each other in our sleep over the last 2 years because we are a two-channel family. My husband works for one of our partners, Sierra Wireless. So we were both traveling quite a bit, as you can imagine. And then both of my boys are support reps at Ingram. Joe's in enterprise and Dominic is in public sector. He just hit a year. Sophie's only 13, so she is an eighth grader at Mill and will not be working at Ingram for a while. Or maybe she'll choose a different path. But that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. Next generation coming into Ingram.
Yeah.
Now we have a very important question. Seeing as your boys are probably similar age to many of those joining Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Do they know who John Candy is?
Oh my gosh. Probably not. Gosh, I don't think so. No, Uncle Buck. Merritt didn't know who John Candy was, right?
right.
But
Yeah, I think that's where it stems from.
she reached out to me afterwards. She said, I think I was talking to Kathy, her mother-in-law, and like Kathy's cousin is dating John Candy. Kathy's cousin's dad is dating his mom or something. I don't know, some crazy connection there. But no, I would say that my kids probably don't know who John Candy is, but they do know who Will Ferrell is. So
Okay.
so I did raise them rightish.
Next Thanksgiving, planes, trains, and automobiles
Yes,
on the
you're
docket.
going the wrong way. Yeah, I do tend to quote movies in the aisle. So, it's interesting. I think the craziest part or the most challenging part for me, as a veteran of Ingram Micro, is both of my boys were hired during the pandemic. So to try to explain that culture to them, that office culture where we shoot flying, screaming monkeys at each other while we're on calls with customers or throw foam balls at each other and just truly have, scream out a question in the middle of the day. We're truly a family, right? And that's one of the things I love about Ingram Micro. So that's been one of the challenges too. They'll say questions, or they'll ask me a question like, Mom, why are you so upset if this person on your team lost a family member? And I said, well, before the pandemic, we'd spend 40 hours with a week with these people, and they do ultimately become your family. So that's why I like to say that Ingram will always be home for me until they ask me to leave, which I hope is never.
Well, that's great. So we did back to the John Candy and movies. What are you getting into now as far as like streaming, Netflix?
So Netflix. So I wrote it down because I always forget the title. There's that new show on Netflix, and it was just one season. It's the woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window, and it's satire. And I don't know if you watched it, but if you do see it, the main character, she pours a whole bottle of wine into a glass and then sips it off the top, and that's like one pour for her. So I do love wine. One of my friends I saw over the weekend, she goes, she reminded me of you. I'm like, no, really, I don't drink that much wine. And I get at least 2 glasses out of every bottle. But that was a fun. And then if you do happen to watch it, she keeps taking chicken casseroles across the street to her neighbors. So I did make a chicken casserole last weekend.
Wonderful.
Nobody ate
That's
it.
the
Nobody ate it. Yeah. Oh well.
Is that the one with Kristen Bell? Is that her name?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Or
I saw
Anna
it pop up.
from
Or Anna, right? Yeah.
from Frozen, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it was good.
What else? Anything else on any of the other streaming services?
At the beginning of the pandemic, I did watch Tiger King. It was so impressive that I did not watch the second part of Tiger King, but I love a lot of British shows. Call the Midwife is one of them. I think they're like 9 seasons. I just started watching all these things when the world shut down. But fun fact, I do have to turn the volume up, and sometimes I like to have subtitles so I completely understand what they're saying, even though I do speak English, and that was my first language and only language.
Yeah, sometimes tough.
Yeah, we use the subtitles all the time. I mean, all the time. That's more for deaf in-laws.
Yeah, along that, what are you reading?
So I'm reading You Are a Badass. Can I say that? I guess I just did. So it's I try to read fiction and self-help, which it's really hard to get into self-help books. And I like to say I cheat when I read, because I started listening to a lot of books on Audible on weekends to multitask. So, I'll just throw my headphones on, walk around, do laundry, and listen to some books. I read at the beginning of the year, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. The Stranger in the Lifeboat by Mitch Albom. I love his books. And it's a quick read. So I think I did that in just a few hours. And I love country music. So I'm reading by Laura Akins, Live in Love. And I kind of bounce around to different books because I really, really try with the self-help books. But if I get bored, I just hop on over to one of the fiction, or in that case, it's a real life story.
Yeah, Sean and I were talking about that. When you listen to these books on Audible, it's just like, listening to a podcast or anything else. It's just some entertainment right?
Exactly. And I don't know about you guys, but I got so sick of Netflix after a while that I had to do something different. So, and we also decided, because we weren't traveling, we would flip a house during the pandemic. So I was raised I'm the oldest of 4, and I have 3 younger brothers. And we actually, we've always been taught, my dad and my brothers are very handy. Well, all except one. And it's not me. So we tease my other brother that he can't swing a hammer and I can. But we decided to flip a house. So every weekend, for almost a year, I spent with my husband and my brother and my dad. And so we wouldn't kill each other. I listened to a lot of books. I just put them in. They gave me an easy job. I painted molding. I painted the walls. I scraped wallpaper off, and got a lot of books read.
That's great. So was it all books, or when you're swinging that hammer, did you have some of that country music playing? Who's your favorite country music artist?
I'm a 90s country girl because, well, I graduated from high school in the 90s, the very early 90s. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like Brad Paisley, Garth Brooks, any guys, any of those people back, Martina McBride. So a lot of stuff that really isn't around anymore. And I'm not a big music person. My husband is. And so my kids love the Beatles, and they love all that classic rock. And I could listen to it, but I'd rather listen to a podcast or a book.
Right. So there is a artist out there who's coming out with an album, and I just read this earlier today, where he's trying to capture that early 90s country sound. His name is Josh Headley, and he feels that around 1996 there was a hard cutoff where you feel as though you just didn't hear the steel guitar and the old country music, but before that, and the Brad Paisley and the Garth Brooks, you can turn on the radio and know you're listening to country
Yeah,
music. So he's going to try to recapture that in his next album, he says. So something to look
yeah.
out
So
for.
I wrote him
so
down.
that hard cutoff was when Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney stole the horses.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Oh my gosh, do you remember that concert?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're famous for a lot of crazy things, like country artists coming to Buffalo and getting. Didn't they get arrested? I think they got
He got
arrested.
arrested. A kid
Yeah.
in my high school, his dad was Tim McGraw's lawyer. He says the legend has it that he sent him a motorcycle.
That does not surprise me. Billy Joel. I went to see Billy Joel this summer. That was a good concert at the stadium, whatever they
Yeah, I
call it
was there
now.
too. It was a good
Yeah,
concert. He
it
did
was good.
the who? Oh, Resnick joined him on stage, right?
Yeah, that was cool. That was very
Yeah.
cool.
So you watching the Olympics?
I should probably say yes, but I'm not watching the Olympics at all.
That's fine.
But I like
I mean, are you
watching
at
the
least
Olympics.
cheering for the U.S.?
We'll edit that out.
I am cheering for Team USA,
All
but
right.
you know, but yeah, I can't. I like the Summer Olympics. My boys were both volleyball players. One played in college. Uh, our daughter is well, she runs track, which I don't know where she got that gene from because I am not a runner. I only run if a bear is chasing me, and thankfully, a bear has never chased me before. So a lot of that. So I do watch the Summer Olympics. I hope that makes up for the fact that I don't watch the Winter Olympics. And I like the opening ceremonies, kind of like the Super Bowl. I'm watching it for the halftime show, unless the Bills are in it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what halftime show they're gonna have this year?
I don't know. I haven't even looked yet.
You
I
haven't
usually
seen that? It's a '90s halftime show. It's um, all '90s hip hop. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige. I think it's
Oh, I'm just grateful they're all still alive. That's good to know.
right. I'm not gonna be sure if I'm watching the Super Bowl if I'm at a high school dance. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Favorite places around Buffalo?
Okay, so I'm a little biased. Well, first of all, they all involve food. Um, so my brother owns Campobello's for shout out for Campobello's. If you do go to Campo's, they're on Transit and Casey. Order the rosé sauce. It's not on the menu, but it's a mix of Alfredo and marinara. Um, Pretty
Crossing the
much,
sauces.
yeah. Got to cross the sauces. It's so good. I love Italian food. So, fun fact: I my last name is Italian. I married an Italian, and then for a project in school, our 13-year-old was doing this ancestry. So my husband's done his DNA, and he's been really interested in it. Well, she did her DNA. And my children's names are Joseph, Dominic, and Sophia, and they probably should have been like Patrick, Seamus, and Maeve because she came back like 55% Irish.
You guys
Yeah,
on a commercial?
yeah. In my husband's defense, he's half Italian. And if you ask him, he'll tell you he's all Italian, but he's half Italian. So, yeah, so we love Italian food, love Carmine's. Just, it's one of the things we do in Buffalo. Oh, Charlie the Butcher, right? And what about you guys? Anchor Bar or Duff's?
I would
Probably
we
Duff's.
really yeah. Duff's is wings as far as wings go, and I'd say Anchor Bar. We ordered food from Anchor Bar this weekend, so
Did you?
yeah.
Yeah.
But Duff's is for the wings for sure.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, we had a lot of fun pickups uh during the winter too, picking up at Anchor Bar on Transit. So that was fun. And I'm sure Merritt's got more things planned for us as we go
We
on the year. I just hope we go back to in-person events at some point. I know it's way out of my control, but something I miss a lot is seeing people and seeing the customers and seeing our vendor partners. And I think we're slowly getting there. So hopefully soon.
sure.
Yeah, we're sure looking forward to it too. It's always nice to after work, meet up with the vendors at one of the 12 gates now that it's right around the corner.
I know, right? And do you remember the days when we were like, oh, not another happy hour, and now we're like, yes, a happy hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
Epson has one coming up this week. I think this
They
Thursday. It was
do.
supposed to be last week, but
Yeah.
they modified it for the storm. So
Yes.
looking forward to doing that.
We got pummeled with snow, so yeah, looking forward to that this week too.
So, speaking of in-person events, you've had the privilege of being on a number of President's Club trips.
Yes.
You also have the distinct, difference to where you can, I guess, sit back and watch a little bit of, some of the debauchery going on President's Club. I mean, most of us are in the library and talking business, things like that. But there's some people who, are there any good stories that you've had that you can share with us?
So I'll answer that, Sean, by saying what happens on the road stays on the road, right?
That's right.
I'm gonna live tweet this, by the way.
Yeah.
I know, right? And we're very grateful for Jeff's wife being a PA, coming in clutch when people have accidentally hurt themselves and not certain if there were beverages or not. But one story that really we were at the Ritz one year. I think it was the Ritz Cancun. And I just remember it was back when Paul was still over the US because he was on that trip, and he hasn't been since for the last few years. But we we actually had to go knock on someone's door and ask them to please put the furniture back in the room off of the patio, this gorgeous like Ritz high-end furniture that they were playing beer pong on. So, and I mean, it probably wouldn't have been a problem, but while we normally buy out the whole resort, there were still other guests, God bless them all, on property when we were there. So that was a fun story, and it's always a great time. And I hope, and it looks really good right now as long as our numbers stay down. I hope the team gets to go this year because it's just so great. Everybody works so hard just to get together and celebrate, and with our leadership team, I think we have a very approachable leadership team, which is awesome. And just the sales kickoff a few years ago, I stopped at Rite Aid to grab some things before I went to move into the Hyatt for a week, and I grabbed some rubber chickens. It was an impulse buy, these squeaky rubber chickens, and somehow the rubber chickens ended up at the Hyatt bar, and we were doing shots with Tim Ammett and Craig Birmingham out of the rubber chicken. There were a lot of us. It wasn't just marketing. So just really, really miss the ability to celebrate together, and hope we can do that again soon.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
feel that
appreciate
maybe
all
you
the.
need to you maybe need to notate on that with the Ritz or whatever at the front desk. By the way, it's Bill's Mafia showing up here, so things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
I was on that trip, and I would say that the best description I heard was someone was there a day before, so it was all calm before we all got there.
Yeah.
And they said it was like that scene in Caddyshack, where they give all of the caddies like an hour free time, and they just descend upon
Yeah.
the club.
Yep, it was fun for sure. I don't think we'll ever be going back to a Ritz, but it
Hey,
was
I
a
didn't
great.
think I would ever go to a Ritz, so I'm happy I got the one time.
Well, that's just it. That I remember when we booked that trip, and I was like, "Are you sure you guys want to go to the Ritz?" And I remember Paul saying, how cool would it be for the people from Buffalo to say that I'm going to the Ritz-Carlton in Cancun, right? Because how often do we get to do that? So the intent was good. It was just a little bit of a crap show when we got there, but everyone had a good time and nobody got hurt. It's all that matters.
I don't know
That's what
who got
matters.
hurt on one of those trips. I don't know
I
that
know.
story at
It seemed like it
all.
was back to back too.
I don't know. I don't know.
Aaron, the everyday hero.
That's right.
Yep.
So tell us about your career here at Ingram. Where you started and where you're heading.
So I know I jumped into that a little bit earlier, but I used to be in the Northrop Grumman building across the street in customer service. In the year 2000, I started, was there for about 3 years and went over to public
That's
sector.
more than 7,000 days ago, right?
That's more, 7,000 days ago.
As we figured out.
It's so crazy. I had one kid when I started here, and got pregnant with my second son shortly thereafter while I was in customer service, and And then I had him, and I was there for a couple years, went over to sales, public sector sales. It was crazy. We do a lot of house, well, we don't do a lot of house flipping. My husband's really good with spreadsheets. He follows directions really well, but we basically flipped our first house in the village. So um, back when I started, the more hiring classes and customer service they would hire, the better shift you would get. So I started 11:30 to 8, and then our oldest went to kindergarten. I would not have seen him. So I wanted a better shift. So I went over to sales, and I was in public sector sales for 10 years. I started, I think we were talking about it a little bit. Our orders would come over via fax. There was no Manila support teams to enter our orders, no order entry teams. We would print them out. We'd process the order, and off it went. And obviously, we became much more efficient over the years, to the point where I was handling smaller accounts and then large project management for some of our federal accounts, which was fun. I learned that there's a glue called Loctite that you have to put on Panasonic Tough books that are on the flight deck for airplanes for the Air Force, because screws start to rattle at 30,000 feet, and you don't want the notebook that's flying the plane to not have screws. So, and then from there, I don't know if you guys remember, they used to send emails about the opportunities that were available in the company. So I saw something for a program manager for President's Club, thought it looked great, interviewed, earned the position. And from there, I used to joke that I never wanted to manage people. And then they promoted me, and I said, I don't think you guys were listening. I didn't want to manage people, but I will tell you, I loved it. I had an awesome team. And I know it sounds cheesy, but the one thing that I love that Kirk said on the US sales kickoff is what he loves about the company is the people and the opportunity. So when I saw the opportunity for SMB, the business development executive, it was an opportunity for me to maybe rebrand myself. I'm still known as the President's Club girl, but I was managing a lot of other programs and projects over in marketing, and an opportunity to get back and leverage some of the relationships I have with the vendors, and start meeting new people. And I love helping people. And I think what you guys do best, especially with some of these small to medium accounts, is really help them grow their business. And that's exciting to me.
Yeah, what a company to be able to, kind of choose your path and, make your path work for your family life. We're all very fortunate to be able to have that opportunity.
100%. 100%. When my kids were little, I was inside sales. And then, I was able to travel quite a bit with marketing. I missed that too. Um, and hope to get back to that soon.
We're at a point in our show here where we, now that you're joining our SMB team, we like to give our guests an opportunity to promote a local small business in your community that that you're fond of, that maybe they do something particularly unique. So we wanted to give you that opportunity.
A friend of mine owns the Eagle House on Main Street, and for those of you who follow Barstool Sports, she was awarded help from Dave Portnoy, and I remember when she found out. So first of all, she didn't even know about it. Our boys are the same age and follow Barstool, and they said, "Mom, you got to apply for this." And so she wrote a letter to Dave, or an email. And the Eagle House is like one of the oldest restaurants in Western New York. It was a stagecoach stop back in like the 1800s. I guess they do sometimes some ghost tours in the basement. It was also the Underground Railroad, which was cool. So they've got a lot of great stories. And it's a pretty historical place. So anyway, she sends an email, doesn't think she's going to hear back, and she gets a FaceTime call from Dave, and of course that was recorded, and it was on Instagram, and we were all freaking out when the text went around, and we were really excited. But it's really cool to see someone like Dave, who raised so much money for small businesses, to save them during this time. Just to give you an example, she didn't do takeout. Eagle House did not do takeout at all before the pandemic, and they had to pivot like the rest of us and do something a little bit different. So if you do happen to stop by, the banana pepper dip is the best banana pepper dip I've ever had. I ordered that a lot along with Josh Cab because I like wine during the pandemic. So definitely stop by. You won't regret it.
I love that you brought that
Absolutely.
up. Not only for the business here locally, but how much Portnoy has done for
Absolutely.
seemingly more than anybody else in the country has done for small businesses.
I know. And I love following him, and I know he's a Patriots fan, and that was some of the funniest posts when he was getting so frustrated with the Patriots during the game. So I enjoyed that very much as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great restaurant. We love it there. It's one of me and
Yeah.
my wife and I's favorite. We just
Oh, that's
celebrated
great.
her aunt's 96th birthday there. So,
Nice.
absolutely. It is. It's a beautiful building with tons of history, and
Yeah.
walking into it, you can almost feel the history. It's just still got
Yeah.
that old feel to it. So it's really encourage people to go check it out. If you haven't been there, it's a nice family dinner.
Yeah.
The banana pepper dip, my favorite there is the chicken pot pie. It's more of an
Yeah.
event than a meal. Like it's pretty great.
Yeah. They pour it in the bowl or pour it over the puff pastry or however.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's an
Everybody's looking at
experience.
you. And you're like,
I know.
All right, guys, when are we going?
yeah.
I think we're gonna have to like
May as well.
Move that one-on-one you have coming up over
Yeah.
yeah,
there.
right?
No, but thank you, Michelle. That's really our show for today. As always, we want to thank management, Mara, Taylor, Katie, and the rest of the Ingram Micro Creative team that helps us put this together. A special
Absolutely.
thank you to Michelle today for joining us, and we want to welcome her again to the machine. We're super excited to be working with her. We're super lucky to have her on the team. I was comparing it to Jeff earlier. It's like when LeBron went to the Lakers. It's we got the top we the top team got the top recruit, so we're good to go. Um, we're beyond excited. So
Awesome. Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
great, and thank you to the team as well for you guys
Yeah.
tuning in and listen to another episode of Connecting the Gears. We can't wait to bring you all of our more episodes here in 2022. And until then, keep those gears turning.
And be good to one another. And shout out to my ears that apparently can't hold AirPods.
Yeah, Jeff's got weird ears we figured out in this whole endeavor.
My AirPods are holding up my phone right now, so they're multifunctional.